This is the fifth Sunday in Lent, and the presentation will focus on the woman caught in adultery, which is a little bit ambitious with the little children in Sunday school or children's liturgy. But I'm presenting to you a PowerPoint version of the booklet today because I'm not in my usual space and unable to actually physically manipulate the figurines for you. But this should give you a fair idea. So I'm going to go into the share screen right now. It's called Jesus Forgives. And the doctrinal point at the top here, reading it through, there is no offense, however serious, that the church cannot forgive. There is no one, however wicked or guilty, who may not confidently hope for forgiveness, providing his repentance is honest. Christ, who died for all men, desires that in his church the gates of forgiveness should always be open to anyone who turns away from sin. So as a catechist, this is what you're trying to keep the focus upon. Then the materials you need for it, as it says here, gospel characters. Jesus, in particular, a woman. There are two women in the gospel characters, and you may choose just one of those and may want to rope her with some little bit of material, if you like, to make her a little bit distinctive. The Pharisees and the other crowd characters that are there. So, and then if you have the model of Jerusalem handy, you can actually indicate where this occurred. And the temple background is a good background because this is where the conversation took place. The words to understand, now one word only in here, adultery. And this is the definition that I have given it. When a married woman breaks the promise he or she made to be faithful in the marriage or to the marriage as a husband or wife. So that basically says what needs to be said. And then going back there. So this is the presentation. You light the candle a little bit after these introductory words, and I'll just present it as I would be talking, as if I was talking to the children. In today's gospel reading, Jesus prevents a woman from being stoned for a sin she committed. He has an important message for those who wish to stone her. As we listen, we can think about how we can listen to that message and put it into practice in our own lives. And this is the gospel reading. I've lit the candle now, just imagine. Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. And here you indicate the Mount of Olives on the model of Jerusalem, if you happen to have that with you. Early in the morning, he came to the temple. All the people came to him, and he sat down and taught them. So indicate the temple on the model of Jerusalem, and then place Jesus in front of the temple backdrop. The scribes and the Pharisees brought a woman who had been caught in adultery, and placing her in the midst of, they said to him, "Teacher, this woman has been caught in the act of adultery." Then you place the woman and several people, including the scribes and the Pharisees, around and in front of Jesus. Now, the law of Moses has commanded us to stone such. What do you say about her? This they said to test him, that they might have some charge to bring against him. Here you could agitate a little bit, a Pharisee and a scribe, a little as though they're talking to Jesus and indicating the woman. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger on the ground. And this is where you can actually use your finger in front of Jesus, representing Jesus, and be kind of writing along on the ground there in front of him. As they continued to ask him, he stood up and said to them, "Let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone at her." Moved Jesus a little bit. And once more he bent down and wrote with his finger on the ground. And again, the catechist can use the index finger to represent Jesus writing on the ground. But when they heard this, they went away one by one, beginning with the eldest. And Jesus was left alone with the woman standing before him. Here you can then move the scribes and Pharisees and any others away from the scene except the two figures that we're talking about. Jesus looked up and said to her, "Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?" And here you face Jesus and the woman towards each other. She said, "No one, Lord," and moved the woman a little as though she's shaking her head. You have to move the whole little body there. And Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and do not sin again." And then moved Jesus as though he's nodding and extinguished the candle. I wonder, these are questions you can pose to the children. I wonder. The scribes and the Pharisees said to Jesus, "Now in the law, Moses commanded us to stone such. What do you say about her?" Questions could be, what would have happened if Jesus had simply told them the answer to that question? Why Jesus didn't answer the Pharisees but chose to write on the ground? What Jesus might have been writing? Why the scribes and the Pharisees moved away one by one, starting from the eldest? And what can we learn from the words of Jesus? Let him who is without sin among you be the first to throw a stone at her. What were the words that Jesus said to her in the end? Go and do not sin. So what is Jesus actually suggesting to the woman? So that's the presentation, how it can go, and hopefully you'll be able to use that if you've got the figurines.